What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Artisan Depth podcast off a pretty long hiatus here. I appreciate everybody being patient with us. Give you some time to catch up on episodes. I know all of you haven't listened to all of them, and you should before this. I got two very special guests in the building with us today. Got Evan Gideon and Song-Jun Shin, two martial artists that I've met here on the island. Fantastic people. Both with disciplines in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. Evan Gideon's got his school, the Galveston Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out here. Fantastic. I've done some classes there. Evan and I used to live together for a little bit, and it's been a great time. It's been a great time knowing you. What's up, guys?
Hey, nothing much, man. Thanks for having me on the show here, bub.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have you guys. So I guess we can just jump right into. And whoever would like to go first, just how you gentlemen got started in martial arts.
All right, Shin, want to go first? I'll take it.
Okay.
All right. From that face, I can tell you're not ready to go first, huh, buddy? All right. Well, I basically got started in martial arts because I was a knucklehead, younger growing up, not a lot of discipline. Going out, starting fights, and I knew I liked to fight, and I wasn't losing most of them, so I kept starting fights.
Yeah.
I ended up getting into a lot of trouble from it. So once I got out of that trouble, my brother told me, he's like, man, we gotta put this to use if you're gonna fight for the rest of your life. So we found a gym. It was a Team Lloyd Irvin affiliate up in Elkridge, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy 88 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, excellent facility. Man, and I got started, and I was lucky to walk into that place, and they took me in and grinded me into a totally different person,
Mm-hmm.
that I can't be more thankful for. So, yeah, that's basically the start of my little story in martial arts, man.
Well, no, that's awesome. I know that's it's also great. Like, I got a buddy of mine who's got a son that even though I don't really train that much, I offered to, because his son had all kinds of just like respect issues,
Mm-hmm.
and he was kind of lashing out at school and being rambunctious and starting fights with kids, but he put him in I think he just put him in like some kickboxing, but just from that his son has like just a different level of respect now.
Oh, yeah.
And appreciation for things.
Oh, yeah.
You takes him out of that world where he thinks he's the biggest in the school, put him in there with some people that can whoop his ass, and he's like okay.
It turns him from being a bully to not wanting to bully at all, and also having a lot more confidence in yourself and growth. It's definitely something I believe every child should partake in, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shin, how'd you get started?
Well, my uncle, my mom's brother, was very prominent in Korea in karate, and my dad also is very high up. He's an 8th degree black belt in karate as well, and martial arts has always been an interest of mine. Not just as in the particular arts, just as a whole, just basically, combat and fighting and things like that, because it was always around me. I grew up in D.C. and there were always things, in the news and, locally and in person in school. It just always has been an interest of mine. But around 2000, I got into the judo.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I figured I did a lot of research on all the different martial arts, and I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna concentrate on one particular one, and the consensus at that time was that judo was the best all around martial arts to get into.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's changed since, which is why I now do the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it's hard to find the type of judo that I was fortunate enough to find. I mean, it's an interesting story. We can get into that later if you want. But,
yeah, absolutely. Would love to.
Well, I feel like it's actually getting harder to find the type of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that you need to find to get good training as well.
I'm going to agree with you, because like it's with everything, as something becomes more popular and it becomes more prevalent and it's all over the place, then you have a lot of there's more possibilities that things and teachings can go in different directions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a lot of times it's a good thing. It's one of the benefits of martial arts. But like, for instance, karate, it was everywhere for a while, and it got to where some of the leaves on the tree were pretty far away from the root.
Yeah.
So it can take a negative, direction, but a lot of times it can take a positive direction. Like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what's really interesting about it since it started is that it's more of a, okay, I'll just put it to you this way. Judo originated during the samurai age.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have social media, we didn't have just the widespread sharing of information, Google, YouTube. It's so big now that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that there's a constant evolution going on, and everybody's able to see ways to improve it. So there's a huge thing about refining and improving, and I think that's the biggest benefit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as the way it goes right now.
And it's absolutely been blowing up. I see it everywhere. I haven't, I didn't really know too much about it, honestly, until Evan was telling me about it. I think the first time I ever saw it was my buddy Adam Fujawa out in Austin. Shout out Adam if you're hearing this. He had this friend, I forget the guy's name, but he got linked up with 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu out there in Austin with like On It and all those guys. And he was a skateboarder, and he just got into it, and then he just started competing because he had he's like a skinny, lanky dude, but he's got a lot of conditioning. So he just found it fun.
Just got right in on it.
Yeah,
Huh?
he just got right in on it, and he started competing and shit, and started like winning things and like.
Oh, yeah.
But Adam's one of those. He's just good at sports.
Yeah.
Like he was a professional snowboarder in the late '90s.
Yeah.
And he was my manager at Shake Shack whenever we were working at Shake Shack in Austin. So we'd go out and skate after work and stuff. And but seeing it blow up, and I honestly think it's because of like Joe Rogan and all these MMA outlets that they're just popping up everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And because I think the first ever thing I saw popping up everywhere was like Krav Maga. I saw that blowing up everywhere, and then now I just see BJJ like everywhere, and everybody's practicing. And but I mean, I think it's really cool, but I can also see where you're saying that like some places can deviate a lot from tradition or kind of do things incorrectly. I know Evan, you've told me about that a couple times.
Well, and to get back to that topic, really, what I was saying earlier was it's. The more people get into it and it becomes popular, the more watered down it becomes.
Yeah.
Because you have guys open up gyms for different reasons than to move the art or teach the art of it and what it really is. You have people opening it for money and stuff like that. So they're just in there trying to bring people in. Doesn't matter what experience the instructor has and so he. So then you have someone that is teaching that hasn't really put themselves into it and dove into it and really grinded to understand and be able to teach that the art correctly in my mind.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, and I think that's very unfortunate whenever because the teachers I like to learn from are the ones that have like been through the shit, not just read about it.
Oh yeah.
Because you get a lot of those teachers that like that'll just study up and they got their info down or whatever, but they haven't gone out and done they haven't achieved any of the things. They haven't gotten hurt. They haven't gotten the failures. They haven't lost. Like a big thing on the show, we talk about how important the failures are.
Yeah.
And how good of a teacher that losing is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because winning has no value if you don't lose. Mm-hmm. That's just how I am. Like whenever I win too much at some things, I'm just like, all right, what's going on?
Something's gonna happen to humble you a little bit about
exactly.
that.
Like I need to get beaten. Mm-hmm. Like for a minute there, whenever when I was getting into like racing, like skateboard racing. Whenever I transitioned from street skating to racing, I was like, I had a pretty good knack for it, and I was like the losses, didn't really affect me too much because I was learning. But then I started getting up there and started winning, and I started getting cocky.
No, yeah.
And then, but, all the OGs, old races, they're like, hey man, you gotta stop doing this. I'm like, whatever, fuck y'all, and then I get cocky, and then I get taken out we had this big race, like the Bayou Battle, and I got taken out, on the second ramp of the parking garage, because it's full contact. So you can pull, like the only thing you can't do is like you can't deliberately push somebody off their board, but what you want to do is you grab them and you take their speed. You slow them down and you pull yourself down the garage.
Yeah.
And there's a trick to it.
Yeah.
But one of the dirtiest moves you can do, but it's still legal, is to steal someone's speed around a corner. So if in me, I was wearing a belt. I fucked up.
Yeah.
You don't wear belts. You give somebody a handle. Usually when I was racing, I wear basketball shorts and knee pads and don't have a shirt on. Because you can't grab me. But I had my belt on. Someone pulled me around the corner, but the wheels I had were a little too slippery. I slipped out, just got dusted.
Yeah.
All this road rash and all this stuff, and I was just like, fuck, and that really humbled me, because whenever when I met the dude in the elevator, I was just like, fuck, because I was talking shit like before that race, and I'm just like, damn. And that really humbled me, but from that humbleness, like, I was able to actually, like, start asking people questions and start observing races and start learning, and, like, because this was, like, in 2013 when this happened, so, but that was, like, the first real wake-up I had to, like, sit back and listen and start actually appreciating, like, what the OGs were trying to tell me, because they've been through it, they've been in my position, they know what it is, and now, of course, I still got my own failures and things I learned from, but now I like have a more open eye to, taking their advice a little more, so I don't fuck up as much, and just or I'm more prepared for whenever that does happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should listen to them when they tell you not to wear that belt, huh?
Yeah, I should have. I was like, fuck it, man, I can beat anybody. I can wear whatever I want.
I had that same mentality many times in jiu-jitsu, man, and it comes around to get you for sure.
Well, so on the topic of competing, so Evan, I know you competed. Shin, did you compete?
I've done some.
Okay, so what was so I guess both of y'all could tell me a little bit about y'all's first competition.
Oh, competition.
If you remember, or early in your
I was nervous wreck my first competition, but I was still I was always cocky, you know what I'm saying? So I was instead of showing my nervous, it came out in cockiness, and I went in there and had easy matches all the way to the end, and I had a battle. This guy, I ended up winning the match, but the guy put me in, like, it was a battle. I remember the match being over, and I'm still fighting, and they're like trying to get me to stop, and I don't even know where I'm. The match is over, and they stopped me, and I'm like, what happened? I kind of just blacked out because it was a fight. But first competition was great, man. It pushed me into overdrive basically in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was something that I really enjoyed, and it set the first bar into my growth. So I believe competition is probably one of the most important things in growth when you have a passion and you want to pursue it at a high level. You have to do all these other things to learn at a faster pace, because if I had never hopped into competition, then I wouldn't have picked it up as quickly as I did by hopping into competition. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think jumping in the pool is important. That's something I say a lot, where it's just like, jump in the pool and start swimming, man. Yeah. You just got to figure it out. But also, winning that first, getting that first big win, like that'll keep you moving, you moving, and that's. But unfortunately for me, that's where my cockiness came from. So. Yeah. But I need to get my ass whooped to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Shin, what about you?
Well, I was the opposite, kind of. I the entire time I did judo, it was, if you're training properly in any martial arts, and during sparring, they're all kind of like a little mini competition. Whether it's with somebody that you're rolling with, or whether it's with yourself, or something in your mind, or something that, maybe a technique that you're trying to improve. Everything's kind of like a mini competition. The first time I went into competition was it was after my judo coach had passed away, and I just thought to myself, you know what? I wonder how I would do in one of these. And I kind of just walked into one. It was up in Dallas, and and instead of starting off at the low level, it was kind of like right in the middle.
Okay.
And my first match was like amazing. It was like it lasted like 15 seconds, and I won. And I was like, holy smokes! Okay, I guess I'm okay with it. It's interesting the way that I was brought up in judo was that anything you don't refuse anything. Like whatever comes at you, you go ahead and you try to win. You know, no matter what. If the person's bigger than you, if the person's huge, if the person's stronger, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and try it, and see where it ends up. And then every match after that was like no. and the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match that I ever did was the first match was a breeze. Second match was not a breeze, but it was still easy. I wasn't uncomfortable at all. And the third one was against like a guy that was like how many ever A wrestlers, and he had a white belt, and he came in and he grabbed my ankle in the half of a blink of an eye, and I was like, holy smokes, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And I was already tired from the first two matches, so it was like that match was over. But it was interesting. This was my first.
So I have a question in judo. So like you said, that first match was 15 seconds. So in judo, just because I'm not too familiar with the discipline, what gets you the victory? Like, are there submissions and?
Oh, it was actually a grappling match.
It's a grappling
match.
Okay.
I jumped into a grappling match. I've actually never done a judo competition because where I did the judo, it was different than, I guess, the typical tournament American judo.
Yeah.
I learned traditional Japanese, and it was the main difference is that in competition judo, you're only trying to accomplish, there's a single thing you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to get the opponent pinned on the shoulders. Whether it's by you throwing them onto their shoulders or whether them falling and then you putting them onto their shoulders.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to fall into a system that traced back to the more traditional roots, which is basically an equal amount of get the person to the ground however you can.
Yeah.
And then once you get the person to the ground, dispatch them however, by a point system or them submitting or the referee calling it. It's that. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome because it's something I've always been interested in, and actually Evan here is like this is the first any kind of martial arts class or anything I've ever done. Like I've gotten into like brawling school fights, but like that's about it. Like no structure.
Yeah.
Like no. Like basically it's I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna try to kick this guy's ass.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just swinging and throwing knees and leg. I'm just and also I had a weird approach to it because me as a young kid, I was like super into like TV wrestling. So like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like like we're getting in a school fight and I'm trying to set this dude up for a suplex. You know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like throwing one suplex in middle school and everybody was like, oh shit. I was like hype, but I was like, I don't know what I just did, and but it's actually cool studying it more and seeing the just like the respect and patience that comes with it, and the art form, and that's like that's what I've been trying to do, especially with the show, is just find the art and everything, because that's why we chose the name Artisan Depth for the show, because you can be an artisan in just about anything. Plumbers are artisans, like painters, martial arts, photographers. I mean, shit, woodwork, everything. Everything has an artisanal aspect to it if you're training on it and getting on it. And speaking of training, so what do you guys do for, like, kind of for self-discipline? What would be some things you do to help keep yourselves on track with things?
Well, it's just the constant reminder of now, for me anyway, it's a constant reminder of what and how I I acted and treated myself beforehand, before I learned any discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's my thing when it comes to discipline now, is before I really didn't know discipline
Yeah.
and what it could offer into my life. And so now that I do, it's like, man, I don't want to fall back into
Yeah.
that. Even though every now and then you do, I catch myself falling back all the time. It's just something that is natural, but I have goals, writing down goals and everything, and focusing on the goals. You can definitely keep yourself disciplined by that. If you're not writing down your goals and everything, you tend to stray away. So yeah, and then once I have new goals, if I don't stay focused on those, then I lose the discipline and I don't keep growing. So it's just basically a constant reminder of where I am at now and where I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I do for myself, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, discipline comes out of consistency.
There you go.
Like they run hand in hand. It's like one of my best friends who's out in LA right now. I think his wife at the time, I think she summarized it the best. He's a musician and he did martial arts as well.
Mm-hmm.
But his wife said, he was aspiring to be a musician. He was already a great guitarist and a great vocalist, and she told him, just keep singing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just, hey, no matter what you do, just keep singing. And I think it's the same with the martial arts. Consistency. It's just there's class schedules. There's as long as you keep coming, you keep getting better. It's like every day you get there's a percentage or a part of a percentage that you're increasing your skills and your knowledge, and you're honing your skills. That you keep up the repetition, and then all the fundamental steps result in you get experience in those, and at a certain point it becomes elegant. It becomes you're able to start being more fluid with it, and then it turns more into your thing. It comes from you. With, I guess, what's the best way to put it? You have all this foundation that you've been given by your instructors, and then you start being able to be more artistic with it. I don't know how else to explain.
Like kind of like you develop your own style of it.
Yeah. For lack of a better word, like a flavor. You apply your flavor to it. I mean, it's what I see in everybody that has trained for an extensive period of time, including Evan. It's like his style. It's way past the point of there's the fundamentals, and then there's the cookie cutter aspects of it where you learn everything that everyone else learns, and then it's like frosting on top of the cake. So it's like that extra bit, and it's very interesting to see everyone's style.
You know what we call that over here at Galveston Jiu-Jitsu? It's called that secret sauce.
The secret sauce.
That's a little bit of the cockiness coming out right there.
Right. Well, yeah. I thoroughly agree with both of those because I think, of course, writing things down and keeping the mentality of your goals is very important, and then staying consistent on those goals. It's a huge thing. I mean, like, y'all can even see my whiteboard behind y'all. Like I write down all my projects. I keep it down. I keep a daily journal. And also, if I don't get to something, it's getting patient with myself has been the hardest, especially and not beat myself up for not getting a goal that I wanted to achieve. And it's really because I'll be kind of beat down, if I try to do the goal and don't make it. But if I don't make it to the goal because of some exterior thing that got in the way, I need to not focus on the failure. I need to focus on why, what things hindered me from getting that. And so when I fix those, then that gets me closer to my goal.
Exactly.
So because that's the thing, everybody focus on, why didn't I win? Why didn't I win? But it's just like, bro, because one, your mentality's fucked up. Like, like two, you were lackadaisical on this part of training, and that's exactly what they caught you in to beat you, or, like something like that. You have to get back to the roots and go back, and because that's what a loss is supposed to do. I mean, you're supposed to, you can learn from your wins too, but like whenever you get a heavy loss, I'd like to sit back and study it and see what happened, and that's something I learned just from hanging out with the football guys in high school. I never played football, but one of my favorite things to do was to sit in the room with them on Mondays when they'd watch the video from Friday's game. And I loved watching how they break it down and see, like, look, this is where you went wrong here. This is like, like, this is why you were offsides. Like, this is why you did this. This is why you did that. And you learn so much from that because nobody wants to fail. Everybody's afraid of it. But it's like, man, like, after making failure my friend, it makes the process so much easier. And then from that, I could segue into asking you guys, so what do you think, in your opinion, is y'all's greatest achievement in your art form?
You gonna go first on this one, Shin? No. All right.
I mean, I could have. All
right, go ahead. Go
no,
first on this one.
I got to defer to you.
All right. Let's see here. Greatest achievement and competition-wise is whenever I was able to go and achieve the goal of winning the worlds at the belt level that I was at the time. But overall around is just the growth that I've had from it and where it got me to here. It's like I can't really pinpoint the greatest achievement. There's so much, so much growth that I'm learning from it and able to pass that on. That's my achievement that I love is passing that on to the next like individual. Especially when I have, okay, so yeah, here's my greatest achievement, is whenever I'm out at a restaurant or something and this guy looks very familiar. He walks up and it clicks. I know I taught him when he was a kid, and now he's telling me how much his class benefited him whenever he went off to the military or went off to school or something like that. He just comes back around and you could see it in them how much it benefited them. And that's why I'm gonna do this until I die. I say I'm retired already because I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. There's nothing that's gonna stop me from doing this. So yeah, that's the greatest achievement.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's interesting because that was going to be my answer, and it was also going to. I was going to start off with saying, regardless of what Evan said, in my mind, I was like, whatever Evan says, I'm going to say this as an observation of Evan and also many other martial arts instructors that I've ever seen, and not even just martial artists and just artists in general. It's the thing I see when I watch what Evan does is that when he conveys this art to others and then and the people that actually get it, that's just amazing achievement. It's like I think what one of the main things that every artist seeks is appreciation. It's not necessarily the money, although that helps. It's not necessarily the accolades and I think it's the appreciation. If one person comes up to you and says, I really appreciate what you gave me, what I'm getting out of this that you're putting out. I mean, I think that's pretty big. And that's same thing with me. Is like when I show somebody something, and that little extra bit of technique, and they absorb it, and they're able to utilize it and benefit from it. I think that's the best thing for me in this realm of the martial arts thing. It's the same thing when I watch Evan convey to his students. It's like amazing, or Tanner, even when we're just out at a coffee shop and somebody walks up and starts talking about, when we're talking about martial arts and they get into the conversation, and then we try to give them some of the information, some of the positive benefits of it, and they absorb it, and you're like, yeah, okay, well, it's a good thing.
No, absolutely. And that's a big thing I'm into. And even though I know I haven't reached my professional peak, but I know I wanted to be an outlet. and I know I wanted to pass on information, and this is why I love talking to artists like yourselves and just passing on the info and letting people know it's okay and just to stay on the course and like and that's huge to me, because if I could make that impact on one person, I mean, we're like my podcast, I mean, we're only at like 3,000 downloads, but it's worldwide. I have 23 countries.
Nice.
We have downloads in.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And in some countries, there's only one download. Fuck it. I'm an international podcast.
Hell yeah.
But if one person, and we've already had multiple, and we appreciate you guys, whoever's listening. Like I've had multiple people reach out and say, hey, this episode with so and so like really changed my outlook and made me want to get back into painting, or this person's episode made me want to get back into writing music and performing again. And that's huge to me, and also just talking to these artists inspires me to get on my stuff, because like I said when we were off air, we are our biggest critics, and especially if people are coming off losses, and I can only imagine, especially in martial arts, taking a loss can get heavy sometimes, especially if you get whooped or
cool boy.
Yeah, it's real hard on the ego whenever you get smashed on. It's like it just happens. But that's why I love that you guys are, and I appreciate y'all being vulnerable and talking about this stuff, because it's huge for people, and it's a lot of the stuff that people don't want to talk about.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. So I guess I could segue this into I guess what could you tell everyone out there that maybe practicing, maybe training, maybe need to get back on it like myself? What could they do? What could you tell them to stay a little motivated and to get back in practicing their craft?
Okay, well, that something I wanted to say anyway just popped in my mind because you mentioned something beforehand. I can't exactly remember what it was, but it correlates exactly with this question. Is one of my good friends from training coming up. Him and I would, we threw our lives into it, and I was basically living at the gym. He had an apartment, and we took care of the facilities. And his name was Anglan Sang, and now he has 2 belts and 1 championship. Beautiful family, but his first loss at the gym, actually training for the fight, because I remember before he was just kind of just a Ronin samurai, going different gyms, training, fighting, just running around doing his thing. But when he committed to the gym, and everybody got behind him, and he sold a lot of tickets for his first fight. And, it wasn't his first fight, but first fight for the gym. Mm-hmm. And in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and he must have sold 50 tickets from the gym. So everybody went up to Atlantic City. We all lived in Maryland and went up there to watch him fight. And he got flash KO'd like first 10 seconds, and dude, like everyone was like, what? Because the guy has a steel chin, you know what I mean? Just steel, and then hits harder than anybody ever met. Knees, he can put a knee through your body, you know what I mean? The guy is just an absolute monster. And flash KO, boom, and everyone's like jaw dropped, like what happened? So to get back to your question here is, after that I called him for a week, didn't see him for like a week, almost 2 weeks, and my instructor, my master at the time, Julia, said, man, you need to go check on him. Yeah. So I went over there and I knocked on his door, and I knew his car was there. He was there, he wouldn't answer his phone. I started banging on his door. I'm like, Angla, where you at, man? Get up, Angla. He's inside. He's beat down, gave up. He's like, and I hear him, go away, Evan. I'm done. Man. And then this was like a week later. I'm sitting there like 30 more minutes. I finally get inside. He opens the door, and and you can tell he's just been on the couch like just for a week, and I tell him, like, man, you're not done. This is your passion, man. I see it in you. I can see that fire in you, and the passion was almost gone. I mean, it was gone, like put out, like just a little smoke. You know what I mean? But
just the pilot light was on. I mean? that was it.
He was like, I convinced him, you got to get back into it, man. We got to get you back in the gym. Yeah. So he started training again, and then next thing you know, man, this guy is the biggest champion in Asia. You know what I mean? Like he's like whenever Conor McGregor, had 2 belts, walking around, he's that guy in Asia. But instead of being this cocky fighter, he's the most humbled guy you ever met in your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
If he was this cocky fighter, man, he would be the biggest world champion you've ever seen in your entire life. He would have 3 belts now. He could have 3 belts. He just beat, I believe it was the heavyweight champion or super heavyweight champion over there, but the guy dropped down to his weight class. Brandon Vera dropped down to his weight class to fight, so that's why he didn't get Brandon Vera's belt. So he has 2 belts and fought for the 3rd one. But at that one point, you know, there was no fire. You know, he was out, and he couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? He just couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so just keep going, keep pushing. You know, if you know, you're going to have your knockdowns. You know what I mean? You're going to fall. You're going to, like skateboarding, you're going to trip and scrape your elbow and hit your head. You know what I mean? But you can't let that stop you. You know, that's just it's either a thing that's going to hinder you and stop you, and then you're just going to give up, or it's going to motivate you to keep going. You're going to get better.
Exactly.
So you see it, let it, and then just grow on it. You know, just keep pushing. If that's your passion, you know, and you're going to do it, don't give up.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Keep going. Take the falls and keep going. Take the hits, keep going. You know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. Anything for you, Shin?
Yeah, I want to keep it short, but I don't want to make it sound like it's simple. That's the problem. I don't want it to come across as it being very simple, but it's for me. I guess if I had any words to give, it's you got to try to minimize the distractions to your art. I see a lot of people when I see them struggling with certain things. A lot of it is because they have distractions,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of are unavoidable. I mean, there's life, you know, so it hits you, but you got to try to minimize them as much as possible. That anything that you have under your control. You know, in martial arts, one of the things is, you know, invariably, if you have poor nutrition, it'll catch up with you.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things that you have under your control to go ahead and eat clean, because you can eat junk food and be an awesome martial artist. You know, I mean, it can happen. But you know, if you're trying to get to the highest levels of it, there's at a certain point where you're gonna have to streamline things. Another thing that comes to mind is for me personally, one of the main benefits of martial arts is usually you end up with a very strong team and a great sense of teamwork, and so those team members that they're your collaborators.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like in just like in art, so. It's good to surround yourself with good collaborators.
Absolutely.
So that's I think that's very important, that you have that, and that you build that you work to build that, and then the other part of it is with any art, there's that part where you have to have, you know, your own time, your own private time where you can go ahead and create, and so. I think keeping those two things, like for me, there's almost no middle ground. It's one of the extremes. I'm immersed with all of my collaborators in this, or I'm by myself and thinking to myself, and I can hear my own thoughts so that I can create. So it's one of those two. I switch back and forth between those constantly. So I think just outlining that and keeping those things in mind, and then back to the consistency. You know, if it's your passion, be consistent with it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I completely agree with y'all. With like community, especially in the art scene, community is very important. Community has always been very important to me, because having a good community with artists, you know, that I learn from, and people I can practice with, you know, will come and, you know, like I look at their pieces, they'll look at mine. Like, you know, like. Steph and I, you know, whenever we go to the museum, we're there forever, because I will get as close as I can to these art pieces and look, because I can see their lines, I can see what they did, I can see, you know, on like old paintings, you know, my professor, shout out John Stovall, you know, he's like, go to these old paintings and look where they painted out stuff, look where they messed up, look where stuff's not done. You know, there's still pencil marks, you know, like they have some Picassos at the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston that are half done.
Yeah. And
to me, those are more valuable. I love half-done works, just because, I mean, look, everybody, you know, finish as much stuff as you can, but I love when it's half done, because I can see the process. and that helps me study a lot, because and the biggest thing I try to enjoy is the process, because a lot of people get too focused on the goal and they get their head stuck in the goal, and that's why when they lose, it's so devastating, because they just put themselves. I mean, of course, like, stay positive, imagine yourself winning, get it there, but also stay aware of the process and where you're going, because you get your head too far up, whenever you get knocked down, it's gonna hurt, so. Yeah, I absolutely agree, and that's awesome, man. You stood up for your friend like that, Evan, because some people need that push, and some people can get so down that they need their community to reach out to them to bring them back, and probably him spending that week by himself in his house probably did a lot. I mean, you coming to save him was highly crucial, but him getting to be with himself and to think about everything was probably very beneficial for him. And then you to come in with the notion of, hey, you got to get back out there and get him in the gym. Whenever he started training again, all that stuff he sat and thought about started clicking, and he's like, okay, because if he sat there and just thought about his loss day after day after day, he gets in the gym, now he's got fuel to burn. He's like, nope, not going back to that. I'm not going back to that. I'm doing this. This is where I fucked up. Let me train on this. And I think that's very important. Very, very much so. Everybody listening, please, if you get knocked down, take some time to heal, some time to learn, but get back up and get back training again, whatever you're doing. Of course, having that solitary time to, to take some extra education and heal up is important, but get out in a community if you don't. Community is one of the biggest things that made me confident about my art and looking forward to make stuff. Always challenge yourself. If you're doing something that's uncomfortable, you're in the right spot, because if you overcome that, then there's nothing to be afraid of. So just hit that up.
Excellent. Hey, Devlin, you still doing those shoes, right?
Yes, sir.
Guys, y'all gotta check out his shoes, man. You posting it on your Instagram and stuff?
Oh yeah, we got it there.
Check those shoes out. He's got it down. I'm about to have to order a pair of his shoes. He made me a hat one time, man. It was awesome. Great, awesome art on the hat. I said, throw a fish on there with a hook through his mouth, with a little bit of Galveston in it. Oh man, beautiful hat. Beautiful hat. I'm gonna have to get a pair of his shoes as well. So yeah, y'all check out his art. Dude's amazing artist.
Absolutely, and that's gonna be at D Mahaney Art, DMAHANAYART, and then also so where can we, if we can, find you guys online, if any or for the school or.
Well, yeah, you can. Our website's www.galvestonbjj.com. We do have a Facebook page as well under Galveston BJJ.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, check us out. Come by. We have a lot of options for people looking for self-defense, martial arts, fitness, and it's a little bit of everything. Good family gym.
Bring your kids.
Oh yeah,
especially
kids classes are awesome.
Yeah, I was about to say, especially for kids, need to learn some respect and some discipline. I think it's wonderful. It's worked wonders for my homie's son, and I think it's great. As soon as I'm about to have some more free time here soon, I'm about to get back on it too, because I need a little more challenge in my life. So I look forward to it. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on, man.
Excellent. Thank you for having us, buddy.
Absolutely welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Artists in Depth Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Go to Apple Podcasts. Make sure you sign up for the notifications whenever new episodes get dropped. Stay on the lookout for the YouTube channel. I'm dropping it soon here at some point, but we already have a page. Just go subscribe at Von Patrick Arts. We'll see y'all soon. Later.